The Palace of Versailles, synonymous with splendor, golden gates, and the dazzling Hall of Mirrors. Yet, beneath this opulence, a different reality lurked. For thousands of courtiers, Versailles was a gilded prison, where survival was a daily challenge. The true enemy wasn't war or intrigue, but the very air, water, and food, teeming with invisible threats. Disease and filth clung to the corridors, masked by a facade of grace and luxury. To endure meant mastering a delicate dance, appearing elegant while battling decay. The reward was proximity to the king, the risk, sickness and obscurity. Versailles was a paradox, beauty hiding chaos, privilege masking peril. The elite were both honoured guests and unwitting captives drawn to the Sun King's flame. Their story is one of adaptation, revealing how people survive not just nature, but the dangers of their own creations. At Versailles, survival was fought with perfume, linen, and psychological resolve, not swords. This is the hidden struggle behind the palace's golden facade. Let's step inside and discover how they endured the invisible perils of the world's most magnificent palace. The Sun King's grand vision brought the entire court to Versailles in 1682, a move of political genius but logistical disaster. The palace, once a hunting lodge, was never meant for thousands. Suddenly, 10,000 people, nobles, servants, guards, were crammed into cramped, poorly ventilated rooms. Versailles became a city without the basics. No proper waste management, few latrines, and no sewage system. Chamber pots were emptied out of windows. Courtyards and gardens became dumping grounds. Even the elegant corridors doubled as impromptu toilets. The result? A breeding ground for disease, with filth contaminating water, air, and food. The palace's beauty masked a daily sanitary crisis. Louis XIV's symbol of order had unleashed chaos beneath the surface. The stage was set for a relentless battle against sickness and decay. Versailles' splendor came at a hidden, human cost. Each day at Versailles began with an assault on the senses. The stench, unwashed bodies, urine, feces, smoke, and animals was inescapable. Disease thrived. Contaminated water led to dysentery and typhoid. Close quarters spread smallpox and influenza. Even minor illnesses could be fatal. Courtiers were expected to maintain composure and elegance amid filth and fear. The psychological toll was immense: anxiety, dread, and the need to pretend all was well. People adapted, ignoring horrors that would shock us today. Survival meant enduring both physical squalor and the pressure to appear unfazed. Versailles' beauty was a cruel contrast to its daily reality. To fight the stench, courtiers wielded perfume as armor. These were not subtle scents, but powerful mixtures of musk, civet, and flowers, designed to overwhelm foul odors. Perfume was everywhere. On skin, clothes, wigs, even furniture. Pomanders and perfumed gloves created a personal bubble of bearable air. Scent signaled status and civility. To go without was unthinkable. Perfume was psychological protection, creating the illusion of cleanliness and control. It masked reality, helping courtiers deny the filth around them. Yet, it was a double-edged sword, masking, not solving, the problem. The mingling of heavy scents and foul air became Versailles' signature aroma. Many believed perfume protected them from disease, giving a false sense of security. In truth, it shielded the mind more than the body. At Versailles, fragrance was both a weapon and a mask. Cleanliness at Versailles was measured by linen, not bathing. Crisp white linen signaled wealth and hygiene. Courtiers changed shirts and chemises multiple times a day. Laundresses toiled endlessly to keep up with demand. Fresh linen was psychological armor, a way to feel clean amid filth. Cosmetics completed the illusion, Men and women wore thick white lead makeup for a pale, flawless look. Rouge added artificial vibrancy, masking fatigue and illness. Ironically, the makeup was toxic, slowly poisoning its wearers. The pristine linen and painted faces were a mask, projecting health and status while hiding anxiety and decay. Appearance was everything. Survival depended on the illusion of vitality. The court's obsession with image was both a defense and a danger. At Versailles, looking healthy was as important as being healthy. Versailles was a battlefield of minds as much as bodies. Every gesture, word, and glance was scrutinized. A single misstep could mean ruin. Mastery of etiquette was essential. Knowing whom to bow to, how to speak, when to sit. This focus on ritual distracted from discomfort and anxiety. Courtiers wore emotional masks, hiding fear and disgust behind wit and composure. Sprezzatura, effortless grace, became a survival skill. Selective blindness helped them ignore filth and sickness, focusing on ambition and proximity to the king. The most successful adapted mentally, building psychological armor against stress and rivalry. Survival at Versailles was a triumph of mind over matter. The real contest was not just for favor, but for sanity. Survival at Versailles depended on countless small practical tactics. Courtiers learned which corridors to avoid, when to walk close to walls, and how to dodge chamber pot hazards. Food was risky. The wise chose well-cooked meats and drank wine or beer instead of water. Some secured private kitchens or trusted servants for safer meals. Personal safety was a concern. Palace corridors hid thieves and rivals. Traveling in groups and cultivating loyal servants became second nature. Locking doors was rare, vigilance was constant. These daily habits, choosing paths, scrutinizing food, staying alert, were the true art of survival. They weren't glamorous, but they kept people alive. In the end, it was these small acts that determined who endured Versailles' dangers. Versailles is more than a monument to grandeur. It's a lesson in survival's hidden costs. The courtier's real battle was against invisible threats, disease, filth, and psychological strain. The palace's beauty was built on suffering and relentless adaptation. Perfume, linen, and makeup were desperate attempts to impose order on chaos. These illusions made life bearable, but never safe. Behind the polished surfaces were anxiety, sickness, and fear. Versailles warns us that even the most beautiful environments can become traps. Progress in art and power often comes at the expense of health and dignity. The survivors were not the strongest, but the most adaptable, masters of enduring invisible dangers. The legacy of Versailles is a cautionary tale. True survival demands resilience, cunning, and the ability to adapt beneath the surface of splendor.